Good afternoon. Welcome to my book reading of I'm Not Scared, You're Scared, written by Seth Meyers and pictures by Rob Sae Jr. I have read this book many times and I absolutely love this book, and I hope that you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoyed reading it to you. Take care. Be safe. Wow, look at this picture. We have a deep and a cold stream. We have dark and spooky woods. What a great place for a bear to live. They can have the protection of the forest and they can get to the water for bathing and drinking whenever they need to. Awesome place for a bear to live. And on this page, we have an old and rickety bridge and a high and slippery set of mountains. Great places for a bear. Well, the mountains are, but I don't know about the old rickety bridge. I don't know. There once was a bear who was easily scared. Each night before going to sleep, he would tie a bell to his door that would make a noise if anyone tried to sneak in. Because even a bear who is easily scared is a very heavy sleeper. He was even afraid of his own reflection. And because he couldn't see himself, he never brushed well and always had food stuck in his teeth. When you're a scared bear with food in your teeth, you don't have many friends. Bear had one, Rabbit. Rabbit was never scared. She read scary stories. You see Rabbit sitting there on a, oh, look at that. There's another book there called Beowulf. Whoa. She slept with her door wide open. That is one very brave rabbit. Brushed her teeth while hanging from a tree branch. By her ears! Can you believe that? By her ears! They gave her very strong ears. Oh, I could only imagine sitting up there and brushing your teeth only hanging by your ears. That is funny. One day, Rabbit made an announcement. Bear, we are going on an adventure. Bear suggested that instead of going on an adventure, he could read a book about adventures. That way, if anything goes wrong, we can just close the book. Rabbit looked at her friend and asked, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear walked past Rabbit and out the front door. Bear stopped to make sure they had everything they needed. Do I need a bike helmet? Bear asked. No, said Rabbit. Do I need oven mitts? No, said Rabbit. Do I need bear repellent spray? You're a bear, said Rabbit. After walking a while, they came to a small stream. It looks deep, said Bear. It's not deep, said Rabbit. It looks cold, said Bear. It's not cold, said Rabbit. It looks like it's filled with fish who have very sharp teeth, the kind of fish who would like nothing more than to nibble at the ankles of a delicious bear. Rabbit looked at her friend and asked again, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied once again, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear walked along the stream until it narrowed enough that he could step over it. There he found Rabbit, who had fallen asleep waiting for him. Gee, a bear that won't even step in water? Hmm. After a bit longer, they came to the edge of the woods. It looks dark, said Bear. It's not dark, said Rabbit. It looks spooky, said Bear. It's not spooky, said Rabbit. It looks like it's full of trees that are going to fall down and bonk us on the head, said Bear. Rabbit looked at her friend and said, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear, realizing he would do anything to avoid the dark and spooky woods, walked to the road where he waited for the bus. Beside him is sitting a turtle. The turtle is also waiting for the bus. The bus picked him up and drove him all the way around the forest. When he got to the other side, he woke up Rabbit, who, once again, had fallen asleep waiting for him. They walked some more until they came to a mountain. Oh, remember we saw the map earlier of the mountains? It looks high, said Bear. It's not high, said Rabbit. It looks slippery, said Bear. It's not slippery, said Rabbit. It looks like one of the rocks will fall and roll and land on my paw, said Bear. Bear's pretty scared. And with that, Bear, realizing he would do anything to avoid the high and slippery mountain, walked to the nearest train station. Their train took him halfway around the mountain to an airfield. At the airfield, Bear bought a ticket on a helicopter that flew him to the top of the mountain and dropped him off next to Rabbit, who, no surprise, had fallen asleep. Rabbit, said Bear, waking her up. Should we go home? After a bit more walking, they found themselves at one side of a long rope bridge. We saw that on the map earlier too. Bear stopped. It looks rickety, said Bear. It might be a little rickety, said Rabbit. It looks old, said Bear. It might be pretty old, said Rabbit. It looks like the boards might break if you were heavy enough, said Bear. Mm-hmm, agreed Rabbit. Rabbit looked at her friend and said, Bear, are you scared? And Bear took a deep breath and said, what do you think Bear's going to say? Let's see. Yes, yes, Rabbit, I'm scared. I was scared of the river, and I was scared of the forest, and I was scared of the mountain, and I am the most scared about this long, old, rickety bridge. And with that, Bear turned around and headed home. He marched back to the helicopter that flew him back to the airfield. Then he took the train back to the forest. Not just the forest, the dark and spooky woods, where he got on a bus that took him to the river so he could cross where it was narrow. Rabbit went to the middle of the bridge and thought, see, this bridge isn't dangerous. It's a good bridge. Look, Rabbit's hopping up and down. It's a good bridge. And and to prove it, she started to jump up and down. And then she jumped harder. And then she jumped harder than she had ever jumped in her life. And then, what do you think is going to happen? Take a guess. The board she was jumping on cracked in half, and Rabbit fell right through the hole in the bridge. Lucky for Rabbit, she had very strong ears, but she knew she wouldn't be able to hold on forever. And because of this, Rabbit, for the first time in her life, was scared. Now, Bear and Rabbit hadn't noticed, but throughout their journey, they had been followed by a small bird. Bird realized she had to get help, and she flew as fast as she could all the way to Bear's house. Bird flew in Bear's window and started chirping as loud as she could, but Bear didn't wake up, because even bears who are easily scared are very heavy sleepers. Bird was about to give up when she saw the bell on the doorknob. Bird pushed her head inside it and shook it as hard as she could. Bear jumped out of bed to hear Bird yell, Rabbit has fallen through the bridge and needs your help. And in that moment, Bear felt something he had never felt before, courage. He was so worried about his friend that instead of staying home where it was safe, he ran out the door faster than any bear had ever run before. When Bear reached the stream, he ran right through it. It only came up to his ankles. And when he came to the mountain, he didn't even think about taking a train and a helicopter. He just climbed right up. It wasn't very high. Meanwhile, Rabbit was now hanging on with only one ear. She could feel it slipping too, and just as she lost her grip, Bear grabbed her by the ear and lifted her to safety. Bear, were you scared? Asked Rabbit. And Bear said with pride and honesty, Rabbit, I was scared. I was scared too, Rabbit. And Bear smiled and said, sometimes it's okay to be scared. I would agree with that. I look at this picture and I see the look on Bear's face. Bear is so proud of himself that he was able to help his friend Rabbit. And Bird's there too. Everybody is happy and okay. That night, when Bear brushed his teeth, he didn't hide from his reflection. He looked right at it. And do you know what he saw? He saw a very brave bear with no food in his teeth. That is awesome. Great book. Thank you so much for listening to me read. I'm not scared. You're scared. Take care.